Joe Biden is getting hit in the face with one piece of bad news after another. Now, a lot of it is self-inflicted. I'm playing the world's smallest violin for the guy who couldn't fight aggressively and correctly for his agenda. But there was the polling on the Democrats that came out the other day, 10 points down in a generic ballot against Republicans. That's a historic difference. I've never seen that big of a difference. The Democrats need to be up like 5 points just to maintain the numbers they have in the House right now. We're talking about a wave that could be 2 to 3 times bigger than the Tea Party wave in 2010, and that wave was absurd. So Democrats are in trouble. Now we have new polling on Joe Biden, and this is a disaster. Throw up this graphic. All right, so let me explain the way this works here. This is from Morning Consult and Politico. What you see, the like orangey color, what that says is what people used to say about Joe Biden on these particular character traits, and then what percentage says it now. So knowledgeable. Previously, 60% of the country thought Joe Biden was knowledgeable. That plummeted to just 49%. Compassionate. Previously, 61% of the country said he's compassionate. That plummeted all the way down to 47%. Mentally fit. It was only 53% of the country that said he's mentally fit. Now that's down to 46%. Trustworthy used to be 54%. Now that's 43%. We're going to come back to this one, the too liberal one, because that is fascinating to me. So let's skip that. We'll come back to it. Reckless. Apparently 32% previously said he was reckless. Now that's shot up to 42%. Thin-skinned, it was just 32% who used to say it about Biden. Now 42% say it. Capable of leading, 55%. That has plummeted down to 41%. In good health, 50% thought he was in good health. Now only 40%. I mean, 60% of the country knows he's not in good health. Motivates his party, 58% used to say it. Now only 39% say it. Cares about people like me. This one is devastating. 53% thought Joe Biden cared about people like them. Now it's 39%. Maybe you shouldn't strip all the popular provisions out of your legislation, bro. Strong leader, 51%, all the way down to 39%. Keeps his promises, 50%, all the way down to 39%. He should be thanking his lucky stars that's only 39% because he just objectively doesn't keep his promises. Clear communicator, 53%, down to 37%. And we got energetic, 46%, down to 34%. So he's plummeting in every single category. The only category he's not, to go back to it, is too liberal. 42% said he was too liberal. Now it's basically the same. That's within the margin of error. It's 42%, now it's 43%. So, in other words, on all of the character traits, people just think he's worse than he was before. People are just like, okay, you're not delivering for me, you're not delivering for my family, you're not doing a good job here. You seemingly have lost a step or 2 or 3 or 76 steps, and we're not feeling you, bro. You're doing a terrible job right now. But then when you get to the question of ideology, people are like, yeah, not much of a change. Wow. That's surprising. So listen, what explains this drop? It's very simple. How long have we gone since they did something very tangible and meaningful for the American people? I would contend the last time they did that was the $1,400 stimulus checks. And if you're really being critical, you could even criticize that because they said it was going to be a $2,000 stimulus check, and then they said, we meant $1,400 because Trump already did $600, so if you do the math, then it equals $2,000. That's really weaselly. That's really gross. You should have just done $2,000. But okay, put that aside. They did a $1,400 check. At the time, his approval rating was the highest it ever was because people go, oh, you're giving me and my family money? I kind of like you. When was the last time they did something for the people? That's probably it. Now, listen, I give him credit for pulling out of Afghanistan. I think the reason why he was hammered over that was because the media is beholden to the military-industrial complex and the establishment, and so they hammered him on one of the few good things he did. In a world that made sense, he would have been given a lot of credit for that withdrawal, but he wasn't, so that even led to his numbers going down because he was hammered over doing something positive, which just shows you that manufacturing consent works. The media can manufacture consent. So that was one of the good things he did. The other good thing he did was sign an executive order raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour for federal contractors and federal government employees. But he didn't keep his promise on the public option. He didn't keep his promise on the $15 minimum wage for the entire country. And then now, what has been absolutely torturous, and apparently people are paying attention, is what went on with the Build Back Better legislation. Because you started out with a bill that had, free college, universal pre-K, free child care, elder care, lower prescription drug prices, Medicare expansion, and then slowly but surely, one by one, every single one of them is stripped, watered down to oblivion. Now, one of the, what was it? I think it was the universal pre-K provision. Matt Bruning did a breakdown of this. Now it's just a neoliberal scam. They say it's universal pre-K. You know what percentage the government pays for? I'm not joking about this. 5% of the cost the federal government pays. That's not universal pre-K. That's like 5% coverage of pre-K. It's a neoliberal scam. So you look at this and you go, of course your numbers are going to drop. And then forget the fact, now, take Joe Biden personally. Okay, he has to hide half the time because he's a zombie and his brain barely works. And then when he is in front of the cameras, he's not exactly a commanding presence. He's not exactly showing in any meaningful way that, yeah, I'm fighting for the American people. Other than maybe with Afghanistan when he was out there like, no, I'm doing the right thing. But, like, what do you expect is going to happen? What do you expect? You overpromised, you underdelivered, and you also seem like you're slowly but surely stepping into the grave. So I'm telling you, man, this is... Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever seen this much of a plummet. I mean, we're talking about he's in George W. Bush territory. He's in Trump territory at his worst. And the scariest thing of all is, you know how he swats the society, goes, well, that's how it works. Sometimes the polls go up and the polls go down. That's just what happens. That's not how it works, bro. That's not how it works. If you deliver, they go up. If you don't, they go down. That's the reality of it. So what do you think? Is magically going to bounce back up without you doing Dickie McGee's acts? Here's my advice, which of course is correct. And of course, Democrats won't take it, in part for ideological reasons, in part because they're corrupt. Sign an executive order to abolish student loan debt today. Sign an executive order to legalize marijuana today. Free every nonviolent drug offender today. There are things you can do that would make you more popular right now. In fact, some Republican in the House proposed a bill to legalize marijuana. Don't let the right outflank you on an issue that should be a layup. But that's, Democratic politics 101, unfortunately. This poll ripped Biden a new one. This is brutal. There's not a single redeeming thing in there. Not a single redeeming thing. So, what a disaster. I really don't know what else to say about this other than we're looking at a historic landslide unless there's major changes. And even if there's major changes, it still might be a historic landslide. God damn, is that saying something? Especially because the Republican Party's out there yelping about Big Bird and Dr. Seuss. I mean, literally, they argue against cartoons and shit. And they're winning. Because that's how much you're not delivering for people. I mean, think about how pathetic you have to be losing to somebody like Ted Cruz or Donald Trump, who's out there still relitigating the 2020 election. Like, there were 60 court cases and you lost. You lost the election fair and square, and he's still out there like, I think I won, fraudulent election, stolen election. And that guy's winning. Buckle up, man. You think American politics has been ugly to this point? It could get a hell of a lot uglier.